The day Mother died, because Daisy and I and Dad took her in. And when we left, she was looking back till we turned the corner. And then we went in, and the operation was supposed to last an hour and a half or two. We sat in there for 3-4 hours. And nothing happened, and then Daisy went up, and then they said she died. So, and we made arrangements for the funeral parlor. They had guests meet, and they sure fixed her up that she really looked like her wedding picture.
How old was she?
She's about 50, I think, 50 or 51.
Oh my.
51.
She was 51. But
I was 13 years old.
Was that in 29 or 28?
No, 30.
Was it
30, I think.
30? Yeah.
Oh. So,
I remember right. 30.
What, were you married then already?
Oh, heavens no, I was a freshman in high school.
That's what I said. Well, that's, well then, when did Lula come then?
Well, she come
Right away, did she?
pretty much so.
I can't remember her coming. I can remember after I got down to Jeglum's that Lloyd wouldn't back her car out. I'd have to go and back her car out.
No, she comes, it wasn't, let's see, I don't remember, what time of year was that?
I thought it was.
She was teaching. She must have come at the end of her teaching. She's.
were you best?
Huh?
Did you boys cook?
Oh, I was a good cook at that time. I helped Mother a lot cooking.
Well, you see, I hadn't been.
You weren't home anymore
Well,
when she died, were you?
no, I wasn't home anymore.
I didn't think so.
No, I left, and then I wasn't home when I was a freshman in high school either. You know, I was over on the Ivy farm for 2 years.
Yeah, I know that. Well, did you go up to Jeglum's or when you?
No, I went to Strife's. Walter Strife.
Yeah, but you never were home in winter either, were you?
Well, I was 1929. I was home in winter.
Oh yeah, that's when I started high school.
Yeah. Well, then in 29 was the year I was home, and then I was never home much after that. Yeah, because that's the winter we had a heck of a lot of snow, and Dad had a bunch of fall pigs, and I shoveled that dang. And of course, he had to go to town that Saturday. That snowstorm came. I shoveled them all the way from the York Church's home, and then I got home, and then Adolph Zimmerman and Joe Scher come along. And I said, I'm not shoveling anymore. We'll take the horses. We got up to Woggy Hill, and we got the horses down. But then I had to walk ahead, and they drove the horses. God, I got a heck of a cold. And they come the next morning, and they said, Ernie, you going to help? I said, I'm all done shoveling. I don't feel I got chores to do, that's all. Them guys shoveled all day to get that car home. And that was the end of the cars for the winter. And you know, I just put that fence in on 39, and in the spring that had four or five holes cut in it.
Billy Ryan and I picked all the rocks off of that hole all along 39. You remember little Billy?
Yeah. He used to come down for dinner once in a while, didn't he?
No, he never would stop for dinner.
Oh, that's right.
Some days he didn't get dinner because that road crew ate at a certain time, and he didn't even, and he never would come in for dinner.
Well, what year did you leave? Did you buy your farm then?
1945.
And then there was Burley married already?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well, where was he living before that?
Who?
Burley and his wife.
He was with us. He lived with us until.
Yeah, I know he lived with you, but when he got married, where did he live then?
See, then we bought a farm.
Oh, then you bought the farm. And that's when things started popping down there.
For a couple of years, I think he was.
Well, how many years was he in there?
I
Well, we
think-
gave Dad the chance to sell us the farm. He wouldn't sell it, so I said, well, we're leaving.
I think Burley's were there 2 years and then they moved over to our neighborhood.
Yeah, well, that was, I used to drive down for near every week. And then Robert went in, down in between. I don't know why he thought I could do better than Robert, but he called me up. Finally, I said, you better get rid of this thing because that's
No,
no.
that's when they bought the house in Monhor. They
When
bought
they
a
bought
house in
the-
Monhor.
Well, that's when, and then of course, Lloyd, I don't know, I don't know anything about that deal. When did it, Lloyd was, where the heck was he farming?
Well, he
He was over in Fayette up there?
I don't know how many years Lloyd was there.
But where was he before he bought?
Out in Willow Springs,
Oh,
Darling, up by Darlington.
well, he should have sold it to you. Well, everything turned out right.
So, and how long did Lloyd farm?
I can't, not too many years.
I don't
Let's
remember
see.
when they sold it.
I don't remember, it mustn't have been over 5-6 years. Cause,
We were up at Long Lake when Lloyd sold the farm.
no. They sold the motel when we were up at the lake.
Well, but they had sold.
They moved up there the same year we did.
I know that, but he sold the farm then.
Well, he sold the farm when he
Oh,
traded it into the motel.
that's right.
And that guy sold it to Kermit England, the farm.
Oh, I see.
And you've been out there.
I've been out there, yeah. I tell you that, a couple, they must be workers. He did all of that. When you see them pictures, he did all of that. Except this, they pointed up the house and washed it off. It looks like a new house. And in the kitchen, everything is fabulous. She sent me, well, we took some pictures. So, well, I got some stuff.
It's a mortar mix that he used, still as white as the old ones.
Well, you know more. God, you know.
See,
I
that
was
was,
just a young guy on that flit. I was only, what, 19, 20 years old, about 20 years old when I left, you know. That's
When did your dad originally buy the farm then?
oh God, I don't know.
18, I would say in the 1890, early 90s.
Was that when he first was married? First
I
marriage?
suppose, yeah. And you know,
Well, I think he rented the home farm 2 years,
down
down where Willard, Martin's farm.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you can know more about
It's some of that's in this thing.
Yeah, I know.
Have you read this whole thing?
Yeah, but sometime back.
Isn't some of that in there?
Yeah, some of that's in there when you go back
Pictures.
to, yeah. So,
So anyway, of course, so the house was, the old house was below.
Yeah, below. See, that was the septic system, the
Yeah.
old basement.
That's where the house was? The old
Yeah.
house?
Yeah.
No, a big spot, I would say, about as big as that wall over there. The mortar come out. Whoever makes mortar that day must have forgot to put cement in.
oh,
And Robert and I fixed that up, and Dad said you have to go over to Ted Kittleson and see if he'll let you take sand. He said that's where we got the sand.
Oh.
And so we went over there, and he said he showed us where the sand pit was, and we told him. Yeah, I guess we had to truck it. That no, I don't think so. Maybe we went with the horses and got enough sand, and then after you pointed, you had to wash it with the muriatic acid.
Yeah, I know.
And that was really white sand, wasn't
It
it,
was-
compared, yeah,
Really white.
yeah.
I don't know,
So
yeah,
that-
we'll have to look at that. Well, I got some stuff to deliver. I went down there, you know, with Amos and Doris. Well, Amos is the one that got the appointment to go through. And she took us through the whole house. Well, we'll explain that when we, that's about as far as you can go with it too then.
Well, the wall, Paula's helped with that, her brother helped with that. Paula's, Lloyd. And
With the
my
stone
house.
wall?
Huh?
With the stone wall?
Yes.
Yeah, we got most of it over in the quarry by the York Church.
Okay.
Oh, you
I
hauled
did-
that rock from way over there?
Well, yeah, it's either that or dig it out of the hillside.
God, that's,
Robert, you know, he dug his out of the hillside. I forget who, I think Morris Anderson quarried his rock.
for the barn.
No, for the barn and house.
Oh, God. Well, he was quite a worker.
Then Venden put the wall on and moved it.
Yeah.
You don't remember him, must you?
Well, you see, I wasn't around there anymore.
So the family was on there from 1898 till, and Lloyd sold it, and when?
I can't think of how long they were there.
In the 50s, or was it later than that?
Yes. I don't know how many years they were
I
in the
think
hotel.
they probably
What year did you leave?
they probably moved off the farm, I would say, in about 61.
Okay, because I can remember
Because they
as,
moved up north in 71.
I remember when we were young, we'd have reunions down there, and I remember playing ball and
Yeah.
all of that stuff, but we probably were, 10, 11 years old at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we got some pictures home with a bunch of the you kids on it. So,
Yeah.
and well,
Nothing written on them and when it was.
I guess
That's funny.
that's the trouble. And then when you remember it, and then get like I can, sometimes have to call you up. I have to think now. What's her name?
Oh, don't ask me because I don't even remember too well. Oh, yeah. No, it's 71. We moved up there, and Lloyd's moved up the same year.
And then how long were you on your farm, Shorty, then from
7 years.
7 years? Okay, so 65 to 71?
Yeah, 8 years on the home farm.
Oh, okay.
And
On the one you
then
bought.
you sold it then, right?
No, we rent 2 renters,
Oh, 2 renters, yeah.
but we sold it to the last renter.
Gilbert's rented quite a few years.
Yeah.
Well, Gilbert bought it. Didn't
Yeah,
Yeah.
we sold it.
Gilbert.
Is he still on?
No,
No?
he got, his knees went all the heck.
Oh.
He had to give up. They must have sold it in
I don't know when they sold it, but they did.
yeah, then we sold it to him for $1.
Yeah.
He didn't have no money.
For $1.
That's what he paid down. Burley did the same thing.
Yeah.
If I hadn't or sold, he paid down almost $1.
That's the way I sold.
You gotta
Back in the
pay
day,
$1
everything I had.
or else it isn't legal.
It's not a legal transaction, right?
I think when I sold the cottage, I think I got $300-400 down was all. When I sold the house, I got $500. I sold the root beer stand, I just got $1.
What was, back in the, as far back as you, what was land selling for per acre then?
Oh, hell, you.
Well, I
This,
don't remember, but we got about 300 an acre, I think.
well, heck, when they bought the Ivy farm, they thought they got a steal of $78, and they sold it, what, for $45? And then he bought that other farm that Amos was on.
Did he sell his for 45?
I think so. And he bought.
Well, he bought the one Amos was on for $6,000,
Yeah, I know.
198.
Just imagine then and now today.
Yeah.
Well, we paid $100 an acre, we did.
Yeah. But you come out all right on it. You made. You made. Well, you
Well,
fixed
we
something.
didn't make a lot. when we sold it, and God, we put thousands in there.
Well, yeah, that's,
Lots of,
Plus all of the work we put in there. But they paid for it, so. And
well,
they never had a chance till we started them out on heads. And
well, yeah, you know, Al Fraser.
that's worth a lot too. You know.
Al Fraser.
It does to me. Some don't care.
Well, and I think that mindset is, because of the dollars involved today, is somewhat lost too. You look, I don't see how anyone could buy a farm today
No.
and farm it.
Not and pay for
Or
it.
not pay
farming.
for it, or finance it, or whatever.
Well, I'd see some of them around, the neighbors down there sold afterward. They sold for $1,000 an acre, but then some of them had to throw off or
Get
take
it
the
back.
farm back.
Yeah.
Of course, it was that way back in the.
20s.
Dad was on what they called the Knute board. There was 3 of them. Dad and a fellow by the name of Silver and Newman. They'd dicker with the guy that had the money in it, and with the guy that had bought it. You know. I know one time he come back. Oh, he was mad. There was some guy that had all kinds of money, but he wouldn't give that guy that bought it a cent off. So the one Dad bought, Severson lost that, and that's how come he got it.
Well, you take,
But it's a shame, you know, that a guy could not borrow $6,000.
well, yeah, you know, and I built the house. So, see, I would never had a house if Pa wouldn't have been kicking me in the butt. Because, you know, he was so upset with where we lived. Every time he'd come up, I'd sing Margaret at
oh,
me.
when you had the barber shop downstairs.
Yeah. And then that lot come for sale. How we saved $500 is more than I do. So Edgar Huff and I bought that corner for $1,000. And then he said, now you get busy. And then of course I showed the plans. Oh, he said, that ain't no good. You gotta have bigger than that. Well, I said, should have. I'm kind of glad I didn't, because that turned out pretty good. Anyhow, now he says you dig the basement. So I dug that with a team of horses and plow.
Up in the Verona?
Yeah, I dug that basement and with Albert Gus' house. With Albert Gus' horses. And old Willie drove the team, and we'd plow and then scrape it out. And he was good with a shovel. I wasn't no good with a shovel. He'd
No.
keep the sides straight.
Robert was about the only one than me. I still got a shovel that I bought in 1945.
Well, I tell you, you could give me a shovel and an axe, I never made a liberty with either one of them. But we had that done. Then he told me to go to bank now, see how much money you get. Well, I got this thing figured that it's going to come to $5,000. Most I could borrow is $3,500. Well, you know how he was when he said something, you did it. He said, now, get started in the spring. What the heck we going to do when we run out? Well, we'll figure out that. Of course, he borrowed me the money. But, you know, if I wouldn't have had that done, I wouldn't have anything to this day, because houses went up.
Yeah.
Shucks. See, I ended up, and then I worked at Truax. I worked about 16 hours a day. Well, you know, I got $100 a month that I made at Truax, but then I worked ungodly hours. When I'd come home from work, I go to work, I leave home at 6, go to work at 7, work till 2, come home, then I'd eat something. Then I'd go to work, and you know, people were coming all night, you know, because they had all these shifts. I'd work till about 12 at night, and go to bed, sleep a few hours. I did that for 5 months. And then we didn't have no soldiers out there, so.
Going back to the home farm, how many head were you milking?
Huh?
When you guys were young, how many head of cattle were you milking?
About 30.
Well, we milked about 30 we did.
before.
Dad didn't know quite that many, I don't think.
And then you
But then I broke up land that had never been plowed before.
Well, I plowed the pasture the first time,
Yeah, but you didn't plow the one that Burley and I hauled 50 loads of rocks off.
I tell you, I hauled 40 off of that dang thing, I hauled rocks all. See, he bought that in 29, he bought that tractor.
and
I
then
plowed that, there was the worms that ate up all the grass. And I plowed that in the summertime. And when I'd plow one day and haul rocks for 2.
Yeah.
Oh God, we dug out. And they're down in the ditches there somewhere. Isn't it?
Yeah, that was
and then
rough.
you, for milk, you guys would store the milk, and then you had to take it to the cheese factory, right?
Yes.
You took it every morning.
Every morning.
You cooled it at night.
Okay.
We had coolers at that time that now that they use them on these big milking parlors. You
Okay.
run water through it and the milk runs over them.
Okay.
And that cools it before they put it in the bulk tank.
See, that was in 29
Yeah.
when we built the milk house. Because I worked, I helped Joe
Swiggle.
Swiggle. We got the rafters up, you know, and then Joe says, I'd like to take that kid along. Well, go ahead and take him. He can finish this. God, you know, it's the first time I ever hung a door. Holy cow, I don't know.
See, I learned.
Learned, well, I ruined some lumber too. Well, that's all right. You won't do that again. And then we saw it with a dang handsaw. You know. And then that track went in and...
What do you think that house to home cost? I bet Ernie don't even know.
Oh, yes, I do. I had this
What is it?
$4,000.
No, you missed it by $25.
Well,
$25 isn't bad.
Well, I
Wow.
I had the contract when I was administrator, and it was so close to $4,000.
And there was 2 stories. There must have been
3 stories.
3 stories.
Yeah.
How many square feet would that have been?
Oh, jeez, that'd be horrible. And there's a double brick wall.
Yeah, I know it's a double brick wall.
And the 18-inch stone wall and
The basement.
Yeah, that's a big. I would have liked to got in the basement. See,
Yeah.
she didn't take us into the basement.
Well, that last time I was, that's the same,
Same as it was.
unless these people changed it. I was
They
down
probably
there.
cemented the floor in that first basement.
In
Or
the-
did
Well,
you
the
do
one
that?
part, but then we never cemented,
Cement in there.
because the potatoes and stuff kept better if you had a
Yeah.
dirt floor.
That's why they did that.
Yeah.
And then we had an elevator from the pantry
Down
down to that
for the.
place, and then like
And then basically
milk and things like that kept that.
Now, the steel roof that's on the barn is the original steel roof.
on the
Must
barn.
Yep, that was put on when I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
Now, that
I
must
don't
be,
know.
Mount Orb Rumble Company put that on.
Is it still on there?
Yeah. Look at the picture.
that's,
What's
how,
it? They've painted it then.
you know,
It's
how thick was that steel back?
Oh, real thin.
It was.
Oh, heck, you could bend it with your fingers so it's so limber. It had, I don't know what was in it. Good. See, that standing seam bent over, and then you had the, Elroy Durst and us we put some on your farm up there, but we didn't have that tin. But they're back to making them. A place in where she lives, West Salem, make it.
Yeah.
Because this lady we stopped to see on the way down, she just put it on the house.
Yeah.
She said the people from West Salem put it on.
What are you putting this stuff on?
Huh?
Is this all going on?
Well, yeah, we're talking, aren't we? This is history.
No, I was going to tell you about what the roof over. You know, I remember was used to not having a toilet and water, you know, and I told Esther after a month of that, I said, by God, I'm going to have water in here by Christmas.
That's the farm we bought.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was doing. This young kid, I think he was 18 years old, was working for Sydney and Norland. He went to short course in Madison, you know, for farming. And I said, well, aren't you going to work? Not if you'll hire me. He said, oh, I won't go back again. So I said, well, are you good at shoveling dirt? No, he said, I've never used to shovel. I said, well, do you think you can learn? He said, I'll try. And he was a good working kid. We wore out 2 of them best shovels I could buy in McGuire's Hardware. They got too blunt in the end, you know. So I bought 2 more. And I got one yet, and some son of a buck stole the other one over. And that shovel is as shiny as the day I bought it.
You dug your septic tank?
Well, you got to clean your shovel each time you use it.
Yeah, we
Dug that by hand.
And that's what we did, you know. No, we dug from the well to the house and to the pig house, 5 foot deep. It was rocky, but not big ones, you know. And we dug out under the kitchen, we dug out, it was about this high, we had to dig there, all the way from the road in there. We put the walls up too that summer, and we built a cement septic tank and 2. No, I didn't have the dry well for the milk house then. And then a dry well for the house. And then we built a pit, you know, for the new pump. Well, the pump never comes, so I said to Bob, I said, you think it'll work if we leave a chunk like that for the pump jack to stand on? Well, he said, why don't we try it? And so we dug out all around this thing, you know, and put up the block wall, you know, and filled in again. I said, well, maybe we better make the cover for it, insulated cover, because I don't think we can cement top then anymore. So we did, you know, and they called from Belleville that the pump come in, they'd be out. So him and I, quick early in the morning, we dug that away, and then that was the day before Christmas.
God, it was cold too.
Oh, well, you keep warm shoveling.
It was on a platform somewhere for I don't know how long before you got it.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah, he was a good kid.
And put a garage underneath the kitchen.
Well, I let him, I don't know, his folks must have come and got him. I said, well, if you want to go home, you can go take Saturday and Sunday off, I said. And then we had to farm besides, you know.
I tell you.
We built the porch and tank put in the plumbing in.
Fred?
Tank,
Fred.
Yeah.
Well, and he drew your plans for the septic system too, didn't he?
Oh, no.
Didn't he?
Hell, he didn't. He told me to put a divider in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
No, Bob and I formed it and poured concrete and put in a brick divider.
Well, see, he did Amos's down there too, Fred did.
Huh?
He did Amos's
Plumbing, yeah.
yeah, plumbing and.
Well, you had such a hell of a time. You couldn't buy anything in town, you know. I had everything. I had even a water heater. I went on the east side of Madison. It was in the paper that they had this water heater. So I gets in the truck and tears. It was way on the east side. I got a water heater there.
And then you get that electric.
And the bathtub, you know, the only ones that could get a bathtub was veterans. Well, Tank had ordered a tub for a veteran, and they come 2 tubs. So he called me, he said, well, after it gets dark, come up, and we load the bathtub. Oh, it happened to be a right-hand tub, and that's what I had to have. So the biggest problem was to get it off again. Jesus,
Yeah.
they weighed a few
This was
hundred-
cast iron tubs,
Yeah. But
not fiberglass.
we had the porch and everything done, so I backed up and I slid the damn thing in on the porch. And then who would come? The gas man, of course, he come the time we was eating breakfast, so he come to the door, you know, where in the heck did you get a bat? Well, that's a secret, I'm not going to tell you.
Did he help you carry it in?
Huh?
What?
No.
No, I got it in there alone. I suppose maybe Esther pushed, I don't know.
We were so glad to have bathtub at Christmas, that
Yeah.
running water in the house.
So you couldn't find any bathtub, you know, or a soil pipe. So I heard, somebody told me there was a Jew up at Pine Bluff that was selling black markets. I played about twice or maybe 3 times what you had, but I only needed 30 feet, so it wasn't so bad. And then I got some stuff from the lumberyard in Monticello. They had some.
What, did Burley have bath room over there when he moved over? Across-
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think,
They were in-
yeah, Abner's had that. Yeah.
Yeah, but Burley's, I told you that, Burley's moving to New Glarus.
Are they moving?
To New Glarus, yeah.
When?
I don't know when. Donnie's been on vacation.
Well, where are they moving to?
Well, it's in this New Glarus home there somewhere.
Probably one of those apartments.
Apartments, I think. Donnie,
You wouldn't be going
Well,
in.
it must be is it not them in them new houses,
I don't know, Donnie.
or there is apartments
What's the difference?
up above there, you know, that they
I don't know.
built.
There was an empty one. They said it wasn't new because somebody moved out, and Donnie found out about it. Well, they're having a heck of a time with him, I guess. Well, not just with him, but both of them.
How long was Robert on the farm he was on down there, off 39?
Well, Robert bought that in, let's see. He bought it when he got married. This Silver I was talking, you know, about, he borrowed him the money.
Okay.
From Monticello? Was he from Monticello?
Well, I tell you,
$4,000 he paid for that farm. Of course, that Mary
$4,000 for a farm.
Mary had 80 acres, you know, that
Mary.
was Grandma willed to hers. They had,
No,
well, I
can
tell
you
you,
imagine?
you know, when I went to buy the barber shop, you know, we went to Broadhead. And Pa had a friend down there. I don't know what his name was.
that maybe was it. That was Newman.
I don't know what. Anyhow, he says, you go and talk to that guy. And God, you know, I liked that barber shop. It was pretty nice. And this guy was a smooth talker. I come on. I said, come on, we're going home. He said. He said, he sells out every year and then starts up across the street and runs the guy out of business.
It might have been Knute.
I don't remember. Anyhow.
I think that's where we got that good bull. Was it Knute's?
And somebody been on the county board with it.
Yeah, he.
I don't know.
Knute was in Washington Township.
Anyhow.
Well, he had a lot of good connections, Seaver.
Well, he got around a lot.
You know?
Huh?
For those days, he got around a lot.
He never was home.
Yeah.
God, you know,
I said,
I'll never forget.
I was talking to Sylvan Erickson yesterday, you know, and he was saying what a worker, the kid that's got the farm, and I didn't think of it then, and I thought, well, I know who he takes after them, and so we run into him at the grocery store, and I went and talked to him. I said, well, I finally thought of who your son takes after. I said, your dad? Yeah, he sure does, he said. You know, he said, I said, I can't figure out as fast as Albert was, and Eric was slow as a snail. You know. And he said, you know, he said he was exceptionally strong.
Oh, God.
And he said, you know, I had to go like hell when he was 80 years old to keep up to me. So.
Oh, them.
Tough nose.
I said, well, him and I had to unload the corn that Pete Paulson sown here, and of course, they had the damnedest corn cribs at that time. Well, his crib, I guess, was full. We was putting it in the granary, and the hole was, well, I could barely get through up and through the hole. Well, Albert, of course, he was good 6 foot.
Yeah.
When he threw it, it hit the other end of the, you could hear it hit the boards up and down every damn shovel. So he filled the back. Well, he would husk in the state corn husking contest. You know, he run, I think that was out of Cuba City. Dad would take us, I went to all of them. I don't know, maybe I was
Corn husky.
corn husking by hand, you know. I know Ralph was long when we went to Cuba City, and Albert come in third. The guy got the name of Dick Post. He was from Janesville. He was young, you know. Albert, hell, was in his 50s. And, he come in third that year. But he'd husked every damn one who went all over.
But he was in the cattle business too, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, he said one year he had 79 bulls running out, you know, for people had pasture cow. Boy, he says, what an ordeal that was to capture all them bulls. Yeah, and I said, I bet he didn't have them. But no, he knew where he had all 79 of them. He said he just drove from one to the other.
God, that thrashing. You know, that, when I worked for Walter, you know, I can't remember, this is the west side of town there, we carried wheat upstairs on the steps, you know. And I don't remember what the name of the guy was anymore. And we carried everything upstairs, grapes all front, full sacks, you know. Them Swiss, they had 2 guys at the sacker. No, it's just I don't suppose I weighed any more than 130 pounds at that time, or maybe not that. I don't know. And it was Gifford and I. So he brought up a gallon of wine, you know. And God, we did that all afternoon. Carried
Drink
them.
wine.
Yeah, we drank the whole gallon. And we were fine until we got inside and took that glass of wine before dinner. Correct.
Yeah, they had.
I couldn't hardly get up on the wagon anymore. You know. Then you had 50 cows.
It's funny, none of them got hurt. The amount. Of course, them Swiss could drink a gallon per their alone.
Well, you see,
Esther, is that true of all Schweitzers?
No,
No,
not anymore
no.
than Norwegians.
Norwegians never could handle it anyway. No, but you know, I was fine. And Alice now was the milking, and I got so thirsty. I went, drank a glass of water. I come back and I was going to get it. She was, but I sat down right in her lap, you know. Of course, she knew what Walter had told her. I was buzzed up. I think that's the last time they got me to drink wine. It's the only time I ever carried it upstairs, too.
He was telling Art Verdon, did you remember
Oh,
him?
God, who could forget him?
He was his hired man, you know, and they was going to start husking the standing corn, and Albert told him, well, I'll take 2 roasts and you take 1, he said. And Art, you know, thought he was quite a man, you know. He found he couldn't husk one row as fast as Albert's.
God, he was a character.
I tell you, he could.
He moved to Madison.
Huh?
He lived in Madison.
He could keep 2 ears in the air all the time.
I couldn't do that right here. Yeah. Well, you know, Dad had some, had a great way of getting things home. You know, he never told me this till we went up to see Harry and Ella, and that's up at Plain. He called up Boots and he said, couldn't Ernie have Monday off? Yeah. No, he wasn't that busy. So he said, remember the time you stole apples at Jegloves? Yeah. You know what he did? We got home from school. That's Lloyd and I and Curtis Jeglov. Now we had apples at home. What the heck do you want to go and steal apples for? And we got home and did you see Otto Jeglov? We didn't see Otto. Yeah, I guess, I don't think he's going to live. He sprayed his apple with some stuff and he ate that and he's in the hospital. But he was in Chicago on vacation. Pa knew that. God, we were sick all week. God, every morning, you know, you get up and you feel terrible. And
that's because you stole them. See?
No, because he thought we was going to die. And it was that. So he goes to show what your brain will do to you. Holy cow. Yeah, he told me that. Well, why did he wait till I was 20-some years old to tell me?
I thought of it at that time.
God. But he knew we didn't eat good either, you know, because we thought we were sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of the boys, who got in the most trouble?
Huh?
Of your brothers, who got in the most trouble?
Lloyd was always in
I
trouble.
never got in trouble.
Who got the most?
Lloyd.
Lloyd does.
Oh, God. The first year he went to school, he was in the corner most of the time.
Oh, really?
Oh, God. And he wouldn't study. But, you know, he had the best memory of anybody.
Oh, I got him beat.
Well, I tell you, I laughed that day. I don't remember the poem. A movement out of awoke one night from a deep dream of peace. You know that one? God, he went through that, and then you were supposed to learn all the and he started.
Well, you had to learn all the states.
Yeah, but you know he never studied. But he went and he started out Maine, Augusta, New Hampshire, Concord, and you went through the whole 48 states. Everybody laughed, you know, because hell, ordinarily he didn't know nothing.
I knew that.
Well, I knew it too, but I couldn't do it like. Then he never made much use of it. What, in high school, did he study there?
Huh? He skipped a lot. I never knew that. So Stanley told me him and Lloyd would skip school.
Stanley Kittleson?
Huh?
Stanley Kittleson.
Yeah.
Well,
You know, I didn't think of it till after Durst yesterday. I should have told him about Lloyd come home one Sunday he was working for Herman Hefting. He said, Johnny Durst would like some grapes.
But Johnny Durst, was that in west of New Glarus?
Well, he out north of New
Oh,
Glarus.
I don't know.
He became me Durst's dad. Anyway, he said
that's enough.
he'll give us $1 gunny sack full for each sack. And I said, well, I don't know. Maybe Herbert was working for Willard, so we got a hold of Herbert. Yeah, he said, the fence line between Emberson's and Willard's, he said there's a row of trees, there's grapes all the way to the top of them. Of course, we'd pick up as far as we dared go, and of course, Hubby'd go way to the top, you know. We got 5 gunny sacks full off of that patch. And then when Lloyd took him over, boy, of course he gave him the $5. Well, being you got that many of them, here's a gallon of wine for you guys.
So he'd use it to make wine.
Yeah, he mixed it with tame grape.
Okay.
See, the angler would ship in about 2 carloads of grapes. They all made about 5 barrels of wine, every year.
God, I can remember the night the tornado went through Postville, Adolph Zimmerman and I went down to hear the
Oh, yeah, that's the first year Zimmerman was there.
Yeah, we went down to hear the Moser brothers, and of course, after the part of one of them cheese buyers got a hold of him, God, he had, I bet it was that long square and had 2, 3, God, I never saw so many barrels in my life. And we were tasting wine, Got home about 2 o'clock in the morning, and Pa gets me out of bed, cheap and crisp, in very good shape. And you got to go to
Postville.
I can't remember who this is.
Maybe Arden's lost all their buildings.
Well,
These
this
lost the barn.
well, the barn was on top of the house. This place where I was.
Oh,
I don't remember the name of that. Of course, I was the smallest guy there, and oh God, it was hot. I didn't hardly dare drink water either, because every time he took a sip of water, he got buzzed up again. And then about noon, I can't remember the name. He come, Johnson. He says, "You need a glass of wine." I said, "No, that's one thing I don't need." That's the longest day I ever put in my life.
enough of that.
God.
Well, we did.
God, when you look back, you're lucky to be alive. In there amongst those live ones we took first, and then the dead ones, and God, we hit them posts,
Did it take the hay to them?
The hay was on top.
Huh?
It lifted it up, and it's a lot of us flying all over. But there was, you had all these things, so it was about like that in there. But then we had used pulleys, I'd have to put the pulleys on something solid. Sometimes it wasn't solid. They used a tractor out there to pull them out.
The stanchions were.
Stanchions would help too,
Yes.
They help pull stuff up.
Well, Mrs. Slatton's barn went. I was working for McGlar's Hardware at the time. We heard this roar, It was about quitting time, and Gene looked at his watch, and then he stood there a while. Well, he said the tornado's 6 miles away. And,
So it was
oh,
close to
geez,
us.
I said, I better go. That's where the farm is. And I got up to Butts there on the hill, and the car come, and I said, where'd the tornado go? Well, he didn't know anybody around there. He said, there's a barn down over the hill here that went, and the cows are in there yet. So we pitched off the whole damn barn full of loose hay to get at the cows. But it never killed any. The cows, there's wooden stanchions held it up. So
I can't remember what the stanchions were.
but there was no way to get them out till we got the hay off.
But we got these out. I don't know how. Well, I suppose there was a spot. That's a long time ago. I was pretty.
Well, I imagine there was wooden stanchions, steel stanchions. I think would have broke.
Yeah.
But these were wooden.
The wood was good at that time.
A lot
The
of
wood was
lot
good
of them
at
were
that.
made out of oak too,
Yeah.
Jeepers Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, yep,
That's how those old farmers used to work.
yep. I think she built up the barn again. And I don't know who bought it.
Oh God, I worked on barns, and I was about the worst of some barns anyway. I couldn't climb.
Her husband wasn't living. I don't know who. I think she had a hard man.
What year was that in then?
Oh God, I don't know.
Is that the one that hit the Gordon School and them too? Is that the same one?
I would say it was about in 55 maybe.
I remember. Used to go and look at this.
It took some building over on the cheese factory where Clarence Funds used to live over in there. It hit the same, took the same track as took them hefty buildings down by Sydney and Orland. You know, they never built up, it took everything there. That was 1929, same as...
Well, it took that same thing over at Arns, you know, it took barn, house, and the whole thing, it cleaned it right off, there was nothing there.
And this thing went...
But I think the cows were still tied, it's milking time, you know, the cows were still in the
I
stands.
don't know how that fared there.
And I
3
think-
tornadoes went in that same track that I can remember.
What Monroe used to have a lot of down there.
Huh?
That went, always went through that, where they had the trailers. Seemed like that,
That was in the fall of the year, about September, because
Yeah.
Jake come from somewhere and he told Dad the tornado went through.
How many years did Amos farm?
Not too many.
you knew more than I do. He was
I
in
don't
Monroe, he was in
4
Monroe.
or 5 years since.
He moved to Blanchardville into town, didn't he, before they went to Monroe?
I don't
Or
know.
when were they in Blanchardville?
Huh?
Didn't they move to Blanchardville before they went to Monroe?
Well, he got that job down at the county farm. That's when he left the farm.
Well, did he sell his farm right away, or did he rent?
Yeah, I think pretty much so. I don't think he had a rent or something.
Well, who bought that?
Oh, let's see. What the hell was his name? Flanagan, I think. I think they're from over there toward Argyle. Yeah.
Well, too bad he didn't come with you. You could have said something about where he was at.
How come he didn't come?
Well, he's going to a wedding.
Huh?
He's going to, oh, she keeps him pretty busy. Going place, they're gonna be hard for him to keep up with her much longer.
Hard.
It's gonna be hard for him to keep up with her much longer. I said, she's a bear cat to move. You got enough